This is what I do. My degree is in psychology. So psychology is the study of human behavior. And I chose that field because of what went on in my own life. So I'm here to encourage you, we're here to inspire you, we're here to motivate you to be the best person that you can be in life, no matter what your situation is or where you may find yourself. And the reason why we want to motivate you to do that is because nobody has to live with you forever in your life except you. You may have close friends, you have parents, but one thing about the people that surround you, they're not going to always be here. Both my mother and father have passed. So people don't stay around forever. But the one person that you will wake up to every day, the one person that you will look in that mirror and see is yourself. And we want you to be pleased with yourself. We want you to feel good about yourself. And the only way that happens is if you make good decisions in your life. So we're here to encourage you to do just that. We're speaking to the 11th, the juniors, the 11th grade here. We go all over the county now. We started in one classroom, and that was at Westwood 4 years ago. And now we're at 14 different schools, and we do auditorium style like this speaking. We go out and we recruit people right here from our community to come in and speak into the lives of our students. They don't charge anything. Nobody's paying me to do this. It's completely volunteer work. Now, what I am getting paid for is to be a school board member. And in order for me to be in this position, I had to have people vote me in. And if it wasn't for folks all over St. Lucie County, the entire county votes for school board members, I would not be here. But because people went out and voted for the person that they wanted, I'm here. Now in 2010, I had 5 other people running for the same position. And this will be coming up this year, will be my 3rd time campaigning to stay in this seat. Every 4 years, I have to go back to campaigning if someone decides they want my seat. And they did in 2014, they lost in 2014, and they did in 2010, which all 6 of us wanted a seat where a school board member was retiring that had been a school board member for over 20 years. And so we all went for it. I was the last person to sign up. I was the 6th person to sign up. And by the grace of God, I was able to get the seat. Now, I want to say this. Because I believed in myself, because other people did not believe that this could happen, that an African-American female could become a school board member. But I believed in myself. Not because I had supportive parents, because I went through a lot as a child. I was 16 years old. 2 weeks before my 16th birthday, I had to fend for myself. I lived in my own apartment. I had my own job because I was, not that I wanted to, some of us don't appreciate, hold up please, some of us do not appreciate what we have in life. If you have a supportive parent, or you have a supportive grandparent, or cousin, or niece, or whoever that is got your back and they care about your success, you are extremely blessed because everybody does not have that. I grew up without neither father nor mother being supportive. And it wasn't my choice. I wasn't rebellious and I'm getting out of here and I can't wait to leave. I wanted a family. But my situation did not allow that to happen. And I was told by my stepfather that I would never become nothing in life. So I had to, and rejected by my mother, so I had to look within myself and understand that if nobody else cared, I knew who I was on the inside and I cared about myself. And so I'm here today with not only an AA degree, but went back to school and got my bachelor's, went back to school, and I was a dropout originally from school because of my situation. And I did not have people like you have. This school really focuses on each individual person. I did not have that back in my day. So if you fell behind because of emotional situations in your life, you just got lost. And at 16, I found myself leaving school. But I returned because of caring people. I ended up returning and they said, girl, you got real smarts and we want to see you make it. And so from that point on, I was able to get an AA degree, graduate, a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate. Because we had caring people within our community that cared. So what I've asked our speakers to do, and we have over 150 speakers now, all in this community willing to come in and share with you. And what they share is their life story. So I want to thank your principal for allowing us to come. You can give him a big hand clap because we would not be here if it was not for him allowing that. And Dr. Belgrade. And I also want to thank all of your teachers, your administrators, your support group here, from the janitors and secretaries all the way up to the top principal. I want to thank each of them for planting good seeds and watering good seeds in your life. So please give them a hand clap right now for their effort. Teachers do not get paid a lot, and nor do school board members get paid a lot. But we do it because we love you, because we care, because we want to see the best. So without further ado, and you have been very, very attentive, and I appreciate that attentiveness. Now, as I said, we go around to over 14 schools right now, and we go from the schools that you might think is the worst school to ever attend, to schools where they have top students and they are doing very, very well. It's a wide range of schools that we go to, and wherever we go, when the speakers speak, you can hear a pin drop. Those kids, even though people say, oh, that's a bad school, they are attentive, they're listening, because each of us have a life. And each of us want people to help us be able to see and travel a little bit through their life story. So today, and we have some great speakers, but today you're getting a great one. He is the program specialist for an organization called Children's Service Council. My after-school program that Dr. Belgrade mentioned receives funding from his program. We receive thousands of dollars from his program to be able to help young people after school. And so, you know, this man is very important. He's the one that comes in and inspects our facility and our program and everything. He also, and you're gonna really love this. Thank you, baby, I'm talking to you now, right? You're gonna really love this. He is the father of the pro football player, Khalil Mack. Khalil. I'm not into football, but I know you are. Khalil. Do you know Khalil? How many of you know Khalil Mack? Raise your hand if you know. You've heard that name. Okay. All right. Where did he graduate? From Westwood? Okay. Now, he graduated from Westwood. See how far he went, right? My daughter graduated from Westwood also, and this past weekend, we just swore her in as the first black federal judge for St. Lucie County. So you can do it. What is your it? I want you to remember that Dr. Mills is asking you, what is your it? Whatever your it is, you can do it. Would you please put your hands together for Mr. Sandy Mack?
I didn't know that thing was that loud, but good morning, everybody. I just want to first thank Port St. Lucie High School for allowing me to come out here. Thanks to Dr. Belgrade, and thanks to my personal friend, Dr. Donna Mills, for allowing me to come. Yes, I work at Children's Services Council, where we give out funding for programs and from babies all the way up to teens for after-school programs. But today I come to I'm an investor. Yeah, today I'm an investor. I'm an investor all the time because what I love to do is invest in the lives of teens like yourself. That's what I do. That's my passion, Dr. Donald Mills, as well. That's my passion. I love to invest in the lives of young people like you. Because before I had a job here, working at Children's Services Council as a program specialist, I don't dress like this, by the way. I like to wear like t-shirts and sneakers and, you know, but because I'm coming to make an investment, I dress like this today. Because why? I love each and every one of y'all, and you are very important in my life. I really do. Don't start crying. If you need something to wipe your eyes, I got something for you. But yeah, I would be remiss to say too, my sister works here. I don't know if y'all know that. Miss Minor, Mac Johnson, anybody know her? The tall lady. Yeah, that's my sister. That's my beloved right there. Don't nobody mess with her, because y'all see a different side of her. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, that's my sister. But like I say, I come to make an investment, and what I want to do is like I was asked to do is share a little bit about myself, share a little bit about my life, because what you see right now today is not what I was in the beginning. Everybody got a beginning, just like you. I was in school, but one thing I didn't do is take school seriously. I don't know if you all do, but I never took school seriously, especially high school. I was in survival mode when I had to go to high school because my dad died when I was in the 8th grade. Going into the 8th grade, my father died. That was a big blow in my life because I always had my dad with me. My dad always encouraged me. My dad always looked into me and told me that I was good at whatever I was doing at a very young age. But when that left, I started making some bad decisions, real bad decisions, because I started doing drugs. Yeah, I started smoking weed, like probably some of y'all are here right now. I started smoking weed and drinking. I didn't feel right unless I was high or drinking when I came to school. I didn't take it seriously. And you can continue to do. I'm not here to down you and what you're doing, but what I'm talking about is me. I made some, like I said, it was a bad choice for me. It was a bad choice for me because I was drinking and smoking. I didn't take school seriously. I wound up graduating by the skin of my teeth. And I wound up going to work at a job that I didn't even like at a young age. I had to work all the way through high school because I was in survival mode. Like I said, my dad died. I had to work to buy my own school clothes. I had to work to eat. A lot of people say, why you didn't play football in school? I had to make a choice. I could either play football and starve or go to work and eat and buy my school clothes. I was like I was in college when I was going to school. Somebody might be like that in here right now, but I was like I was in college because my dad died, my mom had to work. She didn't have much to give us. So in order to get and gain, I had to do it myself. And I was making bad decisions while I was doing it. I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm gonna tell you something. I got an identical twin brother. I think I look way better than him though. But I got an identical twin brother. Him and I, we had to go through some rough times. Matter of fact, you're looking at somebody that was homeless. Yeah, when I graduated, my mom said, it's time for you to go. You got to get out of here. You got to go and fend for yourself. I think that was the best thing my mom ever did for me at that age, because it taught me something. I was already taking care of myself, but to go to the next level and take care of myself was something different. Because when my mom told me to leave, I didn't have nowhere to go. I'm from Tampa, Florida, born and raised. When we moved here to Fort Pierce, it was after my dad died. So I didn't have much to go on, nobody I can lean on, nobody can say, hey, can I come stay with you? Grandpa, can I come stay with you? I didn't have that. So me and my brother had to make it the best way we could. So you're looking at somebody that was homeless for a little bit, and then at the same time, we finally found somewhere that we could stay. It was called a rooming house. They don't have that nowadays, but it was a rooming house that we finally stayed in. And one thing I determined in my mind is that I didn't want to go to jail, because I had a decision. When you're kicked out, when you don't have nowhere to go, you don't have nobody you can lean on, nobody you can go to, you can make some real bad decisions for yourself. And one thing I did want to do while I was out on the streets is go to jail. So I hung out on the streets on Avenue D in Fort Pierce. Now I could have sold drugs. I could have did that. That's the easy thing to do if you're broke, you're hungry. I don't know if anybody's been hungry before, but it's a hunger that you can get. Woo! It'll make you want to do something to get something to feed yourself, to satisfy yourself. I was out in the streets, like I said, hungry, but I seen this old guy. I seen this old man, and this old man was what some people would call raggedy. He didn't have much, but he was pushing a cart, and he was picking up aluminum cans. And in my mind, I was wondering, how in the world can an old guy his age wind up in such a position to where he has to go around picking up cans in order to get money to eat? And I watched that. I put that in the file in my mind. The next thing I did, I was determined to find me a job. Out there in the streets, you got a choice. You can either go do what everybody else is doing to get money in a negative way, or you could do what a lot of people are doing and get your job. My thing was to get me a job. I didn't want to wind up like that, so I was determined to get me a job. And one place I wound up getting a job at was the sheriff department. I was a correctional officer. Being a correctional officer was a job where you had to have a mentality that was no nonsense. I sometimes feel for officers, especially officers that's out on the street like a sheriff, because you're dealing with attitudes and behaviors to where I didn't want to have to deal with that and then go to work with a gun, because I'm too scary. You're looking at somebody that was real scary. When a guy came into the jail and I was the one that meets you at the door. No nonsense. Hey sir, I'll tell the guy when he came in. I don't care how old you are or how young you were. Listen, I got to pat you down for anything that you're not supposed to have in your pockets. If you move, I'm gonna move, and it won't be nice. If you come up, if your hand come off that wall, we gonna have a problem. So that's what we did. That's how my attitude was. If somebody did like that and I had to check him in between his groin and he'd say, hey, boom. So I'm scary. I seen officers get their butt tore up in that position. I seen grown men get beat down as officers because somebody made a sudden move and he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. No, I stayed on ready. So my attitude was no nonsense, to where I really didn't care for authority. And if you was going to talk to me, you better talk to me with respect. You better talk to me with respect. Yeah, respect, put some respect on my name. Yeah, that right there. So I had a bad attitude. That bad attitude, guess what it did for me? It got me fired. Yeah, it got me fired from a good job. Because what I didn't learn in high school, my attitude was bad. My attitude was just like the same as it was when I became an adult. And when I got a good paying job, I was getting paid more than some teachers at that time, back in the 80s. Because I was working a lot. I figured if I stay on my job and work, the more money I get, the more things I can get, the nicer cars I can get. And then I didn't have to worry about feeding myself because I had a nice place to stay. As a young man that wasn't married, I had it going on. Yeah, I had it going on for myself. I thought I did. I had got my head already big, but it got bigger when you know. But I lost that job because of bad attitude, bad decision I made. Guess where I started working at after that? Now, let me tell you how I lost the job. I lost the job because I got a grown man, picked him up like this, and then dropped him down and he landed on his feet. Because of my bad attitude, when they came and told me about it, I told them with a kiss and I left. Yeah, bad attitude. So I got lucky enough, or blessed enough, should I say, to start working at another place. And you won't believe it if I told you. I started working at the Juvenile Detention Center. Yeah, I did. Now, if I got fired for beating up a grown man, I was walking on pins and needles working at a place where I'm working with kids now. Because kids can be real difficult to work with, especially in a place like that. I'm not even going to ask if anybody know what I'm talking about. If you ever been, I don't really care if you've been there or not. That's nothing to brag about. That place is a hellhole. That place is a warehouse to contaminate young people's minds. And I hated working in that place with all my heart. I hated it with a passion. Because I seen good kids come through Juvenile Detention Center one time. And because of the environment they were in, because of the people they were associated with for 21 days, they became contaminated and they kept coming back and back and back. So my mind went back to this guy that I seen. I'm talking about as young as 8 years old. So I had to deal with kids in a position to where I had to left adults. Now I'm dealing with kids now. Now my mindset is kind of messed up because it's like, how do I help this kid? When at this job, I didn't really care about nobody. Now I got to look at a kid and try to get them to see, if you don't get it together, you're gonna go to a place where I just left from working that you will not like. But I didn't know how to do that. All I could do was warn a kid, hey, if you go to jail, you're not gonna like it. That's all I can tell them. Well, when I got fired from the sheriff department and I was walking in a dark place, because in that dark place, I started really using drugs again, really drinking. I was in a depressed mode. But one thing that changed my life to make me decide to start walking on a path of righteousness is I seen a young man die. I seen this guy die. A guy that I worked at juvenile, I seen at the jailhouse, used to come through the jail all the time being a drug dealer, dope dealer. I seen this guy die. He died in a dirty place. He died where it was nothing but dirt and it was nasty. It's a nasty place. We heard some shots. I was hanging out. We heard some shots. I went around to see what was going on. You know how we do. We got to. Some people just ain't got no brain. I was one of them. I ran over there to see what was going on. And I seen this man that I know. And I seen him take his, I don't know, it's a horrible scene, but as he was laying with his face in the dirt and the bubbles stopped. When I seen that, my life changed, because first thing I thought about, growing up in church, the first thing I thought about, this guy to die in this position, is he going to heaven or hell? That's the first thing I thought about. I don't know why, because I was sitting around there drinking and smoking with my friend. But I thought about that. We left that place, and as we left that place, that was on my mind. I was with my friends, I was with my brothers, and my twin brother pulled his beer out. I said, "This for the one who ain't here no more." And as he said that, I just started looking at everybody. And what was going in my mind is, what are you doing? I'm like, man, I ain't doing nothing. He said, look at what's going on around you. And as I looked at my friends, everything was going in slow motion, like a panoramic view. And I just seen guys talking about nothing, wasn't talking about investments, wasn't talking about stocks, bonds, wasn't talking about the future, wasn't talking about nothing. And then it came to me, it's like, now what you gonna do? I left them guys standing right there. They said, where you going? I'm out of here. And that changed my life. That decision to leave those guys there changed my life. You might have some friends around that like to be goofy all the time, have fun all the time, not talking about their future, not talking about anything. You might be one of those people. You might just be. But where is it gonna get you in your future? Where is it gonna get you like right now? I thought about this at an age when I was like I was in my 20s. I started working at the jail when I was 19, and at this time, I was wondering what in the world is going on. As I graduated and left the juvenile detention center, dealing with guys from 8 years old to 17 and 18, being in a place where I dealt with guys of all ages and dealing with adults, old men coming to jail, I put that thing that I found in my mind, I put it together. I said, the person that was 8 years old started in a bad situation, making wrong choices. It's about the choices you make for yourself that's going to determine your future. You can't blame it on your mom, you can't blame it on anybody, man. Only thing you can depend on is yourself. That's it. That's it. Your choices that you make right now. And one question I want to ask is, do you know who you are? Do you? Do you really know who you are? I'm not talking about what you do. I'm not talking about you being a student. I'm talking about, do you know who you are? Do somebody look at you with a bad attitude and you ask them, what you looking at? You don't have an idea as to who you are if you ask that question. I didn't know who I was at a young age. I didn't know. It took me years to figure this out, what I'm telling you right now. And if you listen to it, it'll help you out. If you do it. Whoever making that noise, I appreciate it if you stop. Because that's what I do. When I invest, you might not be good for you, but somebody want to hear this. I deal with kids with bad behaviors like I had. And what I do, I try to love it. Try to invest love in their life. I spend time with them. Because I found out when those kids were 8 years old, some of those kids right now that I dealt with are in prison. You are more valuable than you might think. You are real important. You are real important young people. You got more power in you than you can imagine. You got the power to make a decision for yourself to do whatever your dreams inspire you to do. What's your dreams? What's your dreams? What are you focused on? What are you focused on? Are you focused on being around people that's stupid? Are you focused on being around people that want to make right decisions for their future? Don't make a mistake on thinking that somebody really has to give you anything. You have to make a decision. If you want something that's positive, you got to go out there and make the determination to go get it, to go do it. Don't let your gifts wind up going to the most valuable place that I found out in the whole world, and that's the graveyard. Don't let your gift, don't let that book that's in you, don't let that music that's in you, don't let your gift go to the graveyard. Work on your gift. Work on your gift. I love to sing. I love to sing, that's what I do. Singing is my life. But sing. See, I had a feeling somebody was going to say, sing. But what I want to inspire you to do, if you want to hear me sing, go get my CD. It's in Play Store. Go get it. Go get it. You want to hear me sing? Go get it. Go get it. I'm not going to tell you. Go get it. Listen. Listen, that's a joke, people. It's a shameless plug, but that's a joke. Listen, what I want to inspire you to do is don't let your gift go to the graveyard. What I decided to do is not to let mine go, because it's songs in me, more songs to come. But I did not want it to go to the grave. I wanted my gift to be shared with you. If you wind up, listen, and I'm going to say this, and I don't know how much time I have, but I found out something. I'm like a tree. Each and every one of you are like trees. Either you're going to be a tree that's going to be just for shade and just for keeping things to yourself selfishly, or you can be like I like mangoes. I want to be a mango. I'm a big mango tree. The reason I use that term because I like mangoes. If you ever had a nice juicy Hayden mango, you know what I'm talking about. You don't like mango? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Listen, I'm like this tree that's bearing a lot of mangoes. And those mangoes are not for me. I love mangoes. But those mangoes are not for me. They're for anybody who wants to partake in the mangoes that I have. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it. You listening to me? That's your mango right there, buddy. I'm giving it to you. I'm sharing myself with you. If you want to be the apple tree that somebody wants. But young ladies, I want to say this since she said that. Don't have your apple tree apples just hanging down like this so any Tom, Dick, and Harry can just come by and just snatch it and then take a bite and then throw it back. Don't be that kind of apple tree. Have your apples so high up in your tree that somebody have to work to get it. That makes sense? Be that kind of apple tree. Don't be any kind of apple tree. Be an apple, have those apples up so high so a joker have to climb. If it take them 2, 3, 4 years to get there. But be the kind of person that you would want to share with somebody that they can receive from you and say, listen, I understand what you mean. Because what I did, I invested in my sons. I got 3 boys. I invested in them. I told them who they are. A lot of y'all might not understand who you are. A lot of people might not have the person to tell them who they are. But I told my sons who they are. I told my sons, man, you can be a millionaire. And I'm telling you, you can be a millionaire before you get 25. And then start working on your billionaire status. You can do it. You can do it. One of my sons so far, my oldest son, he's a rapper. He loves to rap. He's sharing his gift. He has rap songs out now. He's sharing, same as mine, but that's Junior. He has rap songs out now. He's been working with a lot of people. He has the charisma and the personality to where he was on people's yachts. He was doing some things, man, that I would never thought. Well, I thought my sons could do it, but to see him doing it, it makes me feel proud. To see my son that's a multi-millionaire right now, to see him doing that, it was not a surprise to me. Because I told him that's what he could do. He listened to me. A lot of you all might not want to listen. A lot of you might not know that you got 2 ears for a reason and 1 mouth. To listen is twice as much as you talk. You understand? So that's what my sons, I told my sons to be respectful. Know who you are. You're man, you're more valuable than you think you are. And I told my sons, whatever you do, do it good, do it well, do it better than anybody else. Because if you decide to do something, whatever your gift is, somebody's out there working on it night and day. Be that person that's working on it night and day so that you can be the best at what you do. My son became the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Was it a surprise to me? I know what's in him. I tell him that all the time. Now my youngest son, he's in University at Buffalo following his brother's footsteps. A gifted musician. A gifted musician. Right now my son, he made the music for my son's rap songs, his older brother rap songs that he had now. I told him, man, you're going to be one of the top sought after musicians, music composers there ever was. And right now, that's what he does. That's what he's doing. You can do it. Ask yourself one question. Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? Find out who you are. Find out the things that you like to do. And do it with all your heart and strength. And you will be the next millionaire that we'll be talking about coming out of Port St. Lucie High School. All right? Thank you, Dr. Belgrave. Thank you, Port St. Lucie. Appreciate you.
Did you enjoy Mr. Sandy Mack today? Now, afterwards, Dr. Belgrave, we'd like to have a few students come up and have the opportunity to take a photo shot with him after we finish. And just a few of them. But I want to thank the St. Lucie County School Board and the Superintendent of Schools, because they are all in agreement to this Speakers Bureau that we are taking all over the county. In fact, Mr. Wayne Gent, who is our Superintendent of Schools, has signed off on this certificate. It is Port St. Lucie High School in gratitude of Sandy Mack for your outstanding contributions to the students of the St. Lucie County School District. We present this to you. Thank you. Dr. Belgrave, we turn it over to you now.
Thank you. We'd also like to extend our appreciation to both Dr. Mills and Mr. Mack. So to Mr. Mack, our speaker, thank you for your words of wisdom and being an inspiration to the class of 2019 at Port St. Lucie High School. Thank you. And to Dr. Mills, thank you for conceptualizing and creating the SLCSB Speakers Bureau. You've made a significant impact on the youth of St. Lucie County. Thank you. Students, thank you.
I would like to thank our board chairman, Dr. Donna Mills, who advocates and organizes the Speaker Bureau to come visit our schools throughout the year. Dr. Mills is up here in the front. The Bureau is in its 4th year and in 14 schools throughout the district. Dr. Mills and her husband are co-founders and CEOs of the after-school tutorial, cultural and recreational center called Save Our Children, located on Avenue D in Fort Pierce since 1986. Please join me in thanking Dr. Mills for her involvement with the children of St. Lucie County. Superintendent Gent is a lifelong and dedicated educator who has served in a variety of roles in his 40-plus years in education. In fact, one of his earlier positions was as an assistant principal right here at Port St. Lucie High School in 1989 when our school first opened. Personally, I have worked with Mr. Gent for 13 years. This relationship started when I was an assistant principal and Mr. Gent was my principal. He has taught me many things over the years, too many to recount now. But if I can name one above all else, it is that our students achieve at a high level while at the same time making sure we maintain a positive culture on our campus. It has been a privilege to work in a school that is so near and dear to Mr. Gent's heart. He was an original Jaguar, and it's an honor to be entrusted with ensuring that his school continues to thrive and to take the responsibility, and I take that responsibility very seriously. 27 years ago, he wrote, "Dedicated to student achievement" on many of the walls of our school. We still see that phrase on our gym wall. When making a decision, I have personally heard him ask the question, and how does this affect student achievement? Above all, he cares about our kids and their future. And now I would also like to ask Dr. Mills to come up to say a few words about Mr. Gent as well.
How many of you, by a raise of hands, know what school board members do? By your raise of hands, do you know what a school board member does? Raise your hand if you know. Mr. Gent, I want you to look around and see not one hand is raised. That is why we come as a Speakers Bureau to teach you about your surroundings. You know, textbooks can only teach you but so much. But for us to come through giving our life stories, because that's what we do, we bring speakers all over the community now to share with you their life story so that it can help you interpret and gain information about life skills. Because no matter how much education you get with the textbook, if you don't know how to live within your surroundings and develop those skills, then you will find yourself at a loss. So education is about learning about your environment. It's about learning about the things that surround your world. And it takes itself in many different shapes and forms. And all together, if we give the education to the whole person, we believe that you will be able to be successful in life. So a school board member is someone that has to run a campaign, first of all. Nobody hires me as an individual. Everyone hires me. The community goes out and they vote for school board members. And you got to get enough votes to hold this position. Now, what it does is this. I am an officer for the state of Florida regarding public school education. That means that I look out on the local level to ensure that those laws and regulations that the state of Florida has put in place is implemented within our local school district. And we do that through setting policies to ensure that that is done. If it wasn't for the vote, I would not be the first black female ever to serve as a St. Lucie County school board. So your vote is very important because it's when you go out and you place a vote in that ballot, you are saying this is the person I want to serve and represent me. And we serve the people, we serve our district. I want to thank the school district board of members in the school district for supporting this effort, along with our staff and our administration, and of course Mr. Gent, who supports this effort. And I want to also thank my husband of 43 years, who is my partner with the Speakers Bureau. Reverend Kenneth Mills. And also, I want to also mention a young man here who travels around the district with me. All of it is volunteer work. Me being here, this is not my job. I already told you what my job was. This is my volunteer service to St. Lucie County School District. And this young man has been a speaker for the Speakers Bureau for the past 2 years. And if he would stand right now, he's a dynamic speaker. I've already heard from your principal. He's going to have him come and say a few words and share his story. Because what I ask my speakers to do is not come and tell you how you should live your life. I ask my speakers to come and share their life with you. And then once you get that information, I hope that you make it knowledge, which means you understand and know now and are a little wiser on how to be successful in life. Mr. Samuel Gaines, please stand so our young people can see you this morning. Just stand and wave at him. Be obedient. Thank you. Oh, I said Samuel Gaines? Oh my gosh, Samuel McDuffie. Samuel Gaines was the a school board member for 30-something odd years in this community. Anybody know Samuel Gaines? So that he was on my mind. So at this time, without further ado, we're going to have our superintendent of schools come before you with his life story. Thank you.
All right, good morning, Jaguars. So, May 22nd, 4:30, it's on a Tuesday at the Finn Center. Dr. Mills and myself will be shaking your hands as you come across the stage with the, before you get the diploma. So what I want you to do, and I want to see all your eyes, I want to make sure when you come by that you say, if you want to get that extra minute of glory, because it's going to be on TV and it's broadcast live on the web, just stop by and say, I heard you speak when you were at Port St. Lucie High School. And that'll give you a couple extra minutes of fame before you move on to your next, whatever you're going to do next. So that's what I want to talk about right now. So I am an original Jaguar, but I got a question for you first. Mr. Ocampo, does he wear a suit every day? No, is he dressed up today for company, huh? All right. Mr. Ocampo doing a nice job? Yeah, he's doing a good job. You know that you guys got a new track out there coming, and you're going to have new bleachers in your gym. And that's one of the main reasons. And the way the school looks from when you were a freshman to right now, you can thank Mr. Ocampo. One other thing. When I tell you my story, it has a direct impact on everybody in this room, and it has a direct impact on everybody in this school. Because like Mr. Ocampo said, I was an assistant principal here, and when I tell my story, it's going to be part of it. And there's a lake out in front of the school, and part of my story has to do with that lake in front of the school. So, I'm from Miami. Let me tell you what a superintendent does too, okay? Because a lot of folks, just like Dr. Mills talked about, and I want to thank Dr. Mills for inviting me to speak, and the last time I did this was at one of your rival high schools, up at Westwood High School. And so I appreciate what she does and doing the Speakers Bureau, and she's exactly right. We're not here to talk to you, we're not here to preach to you, we're here to tell a story, and then you're mature enough, because most of you are 17, 18 years of age, you got to make some tough decisions in the next few months, and you got to make some tough decisions in the next 5 years. And I'm going to start and I'm going to leave with it. The decisions that you're going to make, the decisions you're going to make in the next 5 years, you're going to spend the rest of your life managing those decisions. So that's just something to think about. You're going to spend the rest of your life managing those decisions. So if they're good decisions, they're easy to manage. If we make some mistakes, which we all do, that leads to some hardships and some adversary, but that doesn't mean you can't be successful. So, a superintendent, what do? You got a principal of a school. Superintendent, we have 38 schools in St. Lucie County and approximately 38,000 students that go from pre-kindergarten to seniors. And so I'm responsible for everything that happens in the school district. So I'm kind of like the principal of 38 schools. And the school board hires me, so I work for the school board. And they're voted in and elected in, so I work for them and I work for you to make sure that the system runs smoothly. And so, let me tell you my story. From Miami, Florida. I was born in Miami, all right? And go Canes is right. And so, anyway, yeah, I hear you. So anyway, I remember when I was in your position right now, I can remember January of my senior year, okay? But let me tell you about how I got to the high school I was at. I was always involved in sports. I'm always involved in athletics. I played baseball, I played football, I played basketball. I was talking to one of your soccer players here a minute ago. Played a little soccer as well, but my main sport was basketball. So when I was in junior high, back then it was called junior high, not middle school, and it was only 7th and 8th grade. My goal was to go to a school called Carroll City, Miami Carroll City Senior High. Yeah, because they had a great, the Chiefs, very good. They had a great sports program and a great basketball program, okay? So, my sister went there, my dad would take us to all the basketball games. So when I'm in middle school, or junior high, my 8th grade year, they changed the boundaries, so I was no longer boundary to go to that school, but to go to another school. So that was very disappointing to me because I've been thinking, this is where I want to go and I want to try to make the basketball team. So I did a transfer and took a class called Latin, which is a foreign language that nobody ever hears about too much anymore. But I took that class to go out of zone to Carroll City to try to make the basketball team. And I had thought about this for 3 years, about that tryout and what that was going to be. So the day the tryout comes, we walk into the gym and there's over 150 young men lined up that are trying out for the team. And there's only going to be 12 that make it. And I remember walking in going, whoa. And they lined us up on a wall and they went down and counted out 10 guys, put them out on the floor, and you play man to man, and if your man scores, you're out. You go back to the back of the line and see if it's going to be a chance for you to come in. So I'm in the middle of this thinking this is messed up. I may not even get in here today to see what for this coach can see what I can do. So finally it was my turn to get in. I'm playing a guy, hit some crazy shot. I was only in there for about a minute or two. I'm back at the end of the line. The first day's over, it's a 2-day tryout, and I'm thinking, wow, I spent all this time trying to make this team, and I screwed up the first day, got in there, my man scored quickly, and this coach didn't even know who I am. But I didn't let it deter me because we had one more day to come out. So I knew that, you know what, I need to be at the front of the line. I need to be in front of 150 guys, so I'm one of the first guys out there. So I did exactly what you guys do sometimes. I made up an excuse so I could get out of class early, okay? And I don't remember the details of it, but I remember that I was in the top 10 guys when we had the second day of practice and stayed on the floor for a long period of time. Long story short, made the team, and we were state champions. My senior year in high school, we were the state champions. So my main goal right then was to make the team, and made the team. Didn't let that first day of adversary kind of hurt me. I could have quit, I could have made excuses, I could have said, all this stuff, but like, there's something inside of me that doesn't quit. And so made the team. Now, my senior year, my buddy and I, one of my best friends, we're going to go to the University of Florida. That was our goal, to go to the University of Florida. And I was going to major in broadcast journalism. I wanted to be a sports announcer because I love sports that much. And so we have to take, just like you have to take different tests, the SAT now and the ACT, well back then we had to take what's called a senior placement exam. I scored 1 point less than was needed to get into Florida. All right? So they said, okay, you're still accepted, but you need to come up to a summer school program, and then you'll be enrolled if you're successful in the program. Well, my family didn't have a lot of money, and I had to work. In fact, I worked all through high school to offset and help out with the expenses. So I couldn't afford to go to Florida for that summer. So just like where you're at right now, you're thinking, well, what am I going to, I want to go to this school, I want to go to that school. That dream of going to Florida was kind of shattered. So my guidance counselor talked to me and said, there's a small school up in North Carolina, and I could get you into that school, and you could go up there, but they don't have broadcast journalism. And I thought, okay, and then a buddy of mine that played basketball at another school was going to go to that school, so I decided, sight unseen, to go to Asheville, North Carolina, go to a small college called Mars Hill, and major in education, because I always liked my teachers, and I liked this one teacher that I had, and I also thought, you know what, I'll be a basketball coach, I'll be a coach. So the goal of being a broadcast journalism was kind of shattered. I'm disappointed. I could have sat there and said, well, I'll just stay in Miami, I'll work, or I could persist and say, you know what, no, this isn't going to set me back. I know there's a plan for my life, and I'm going to do something with it. So I went to college, got to 4 years, got a teacher, came back, was at Fort Pierce Central, was a head boys basketball coach, a teacher as well, and then my goal at the time, I got my master's degree at the University of Georgia, who got beat. Anybody stay up to the end of the game last night? Okay, all right. If you don't know what happened, overtime, they threw a long pass, and Alabama won. Well, I was rooting for Georgia because that's where I went and got my master's. So anyway, I'm off track. So I'm a basketball coach, teaching, but I wanted to go into administration. I wanted to be an assistant principal, and my goal was to be a principal. So at Fort Pierce Central, I do all these things, and I have on my master's degree, and I have what it takes to be an assistant principal, and I interviewed when the position came open and got the assistant principal job. Well, then when you're assistant principal, your next goal is to be what? Principal, right? So my goal was to be the principal. So 1989, this school is being built. All right, Port St. Lucie High School is being built. I applied for the principalship, and there were top 3 finalists. And I got a phone call. I was in Orlando at a conference at the time, and I was told you didn't get the position. The position went to a gentleman by the name of Mr. Charlie Kumo. So I'm upset, and I'm like, okay, disappointed. Not upset, but disappointed. I thought, I should have been, I had what it took to be the principal, could open up a brand new school, da 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 da. So I could have easily sulked and said, well, okay, I wasn't successful at it. I'll stay at Fort Pierce Central. But Mr. Kuma was a good guy and deserved the position. So I called him up and said, hey, can I be your assistant principal? So he took his main competition and said, sure. So I came here, opened up the school for 2 years. Funny story about the lake up there is that, where's Mr. Rodriguez? All right, right over here on the wall. He was a student at the time, and he was on the basketball team. And we're playing Westwood. First year, I don't think we had any seniors that year. No seniors the first year. We're playing Westwood, so I made a bet with a basketball team. If you can beat Westwood, I'll swim that lake out in front of the school. That alligator infested, python infested, crocodile infested, amoeba infested lake. And we upset Westwood because we had no business beating them. We had a great coach, Kareem, Mr. Rodriguez, was really a really outstanding high school basketball player. So we beat them, so I swam that lake. So if you ever hear that story about some crazy guy that swam the lake, that's a true story, not an urban legend. But anyway, long story short, didn't get the principalship, was the assistant principal, then went to Forest Grove. You ever hear of Forest Grove Middle School? All right, opened that school, got my first principalship, then they sent me over to Westwood High School as principal, did some stuff there. Long story short, I spent 20 years here. So while I'm principal, what's the next goal after principal if you want to keep moving up the ladder? Superintendent. So I'm thinking, you know what, I want to be superintendent of schools, I want to do more for more folks. So I left the county in 2000. I was here for 20 years and left and went to Palm Beach County and served in a role that stayed there, was up there down there for 15 years, but it was in a role called area superintendent, where I had an area of Palm Beach because there's 180,000 students in Palm Beach County. And there's 188 schools compared to 38 schools here. So I had a region, but my goal was to be superintendent. And in 2003, the superintendent job opens up in St. Lucie County. So I apply, and I came in second, all right? Just like applying for the principalship here, didn't get it, came in second, and I remember the phone call saying, you did a great job, you finished second. So I could have quit right then and said, you know what? All right, that was a nice try. But I remember driving home that night going, I wouldn't have done anything different in this interview, nothing. Nothing different, and it was a great experience. My time will come one of these days. So a few years later, I ran for superintendent. Just like Dr. Mills, you have to run for public office. Different counties, some counties it's an elected position, some counties it's appointed. So Martin County, I ran for superintendent, and there were 5 people. Guess where I finished? Second, came in second. So now I'm a 2-time, I don't want to say loser, but a second place finisher, right? And so folks could get discouraged, and I wasn't discouraged at all. I thought, you know, something will work out. A few years later, Indian River County opens up. Apply for Indian River County. And it's a long, drawn-out process. Guess where I came in? Second. So I won the silver medal 3 times in a row. Okay? This is over, this is really over a 10-year period of time. I could have easily been discouraged. I could have easily stepped back and said, man, you know, the system's not fair. They screwed me over. This guy didn't deserve that. This lady didn't deserve that. But no, I didn't do that. I just thought this will be a learning experience. My time will come one of these days. So I'm down in Palm Beach County, and the superintendent then asked me to go become principal. I was an area superintendent and asked me to go to Dwyer High School. You've heard of Dwyer High School. Go to Dwyer, the school's underperforming, and turn it around. That's where I met a guy named Adrian Ocampo, Mr. Ocampo. So, because when he told you that I was his principal, well, he wasn't a student. He was an adult. He was the assistant principal. So that's where our paths met. And we'll talk about that in a second and how that has an impact on everybody here. So he's the assistant principal. I serve in that role, then go back to the county office. The superintendent in Palm Beach County steps down, and they have an opening. I didn't want that job. I did not want that job, wasn't interested in that job. But they asked me to serve as what was called the interim. When the superintendent stepped down, they were going to do a national search. It's kind of like recruitment, a national recruiting for a superintendent to come in. And they asked me if I would be temporary, which is called an interim, to run the district until they bring in their person. And I said, sure, I'll be happy to do that and hold the district get together, but I didn't, you know, couldn't be the superintendent if you were the interim, and I didn't want the job. So I did that for several months. And at the end of that period, they do their national search, and they changed the rules, and they said, we want you to apply for the position of superintendent. And so guess what happened? I got it, okay? After 3 tries over a 11-year period, I got the job. I didn't want the job. I didn't want that job. I didn't ask for that job, but I received it. Now, earlier in life, if I'd have been upset and said, well, I didn't get this one or that one, I could have easily quit. I could have easily stepped back and said, well, you know, it's not fair. So I get this job that I don't really want. I get thrown into that position. We're the 11th largest district in the country. So did that for 4 years. Promoted this gentleman here to a principalship at, what was the name of that school? Egret Lake, an elementary school, even though he had been high school. Then he went to Duncan Middle School, and then I put him out at Pahokee High School. So not only did my career begin to expand, but because of I know good talent, that gentleman right there also, because we only win with good people. So I'm superintendent, and after 4 years, I'm not happy. Not happy. I'm ready to do something different. We were the highest performing school district in the state of Florida in urban schools. We outperformed Miami, Broward, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, all the large counties. Palm Beach outperformed them in every area. We had great support from the community, and I was ready for a new challenge. So just like you're in a position right now that you may know what you want to do next, all I knew was I was ready for a new challenge, but I wasn't sure what that was going to be. So I announced that I was not going to be returning after that year finished up. And it's kind of like coming out of high school or coming out of college. I didn't know what I was going to do next. So I saw St. Lucie County, the position opened up for a superintendent, and I'm thinking, we could do some great things at that county in St. Lucie. That had been my home for 20 years where I started my career. So the board unanimously selected me to come back. So the place that I first tried for, the place that I first tried to be superintendent and came in second, really achieved the goal 15 years later, came back as superintendent and was appointed here in St. Lucie County for 2.5 years. So the point is this. There were many obstacles, there were many things that stood in the way, things that I wanted, certain goals that I had that I was not going to be deterred by. Every one of you this morning did the same thing. You got up and you looked in the mirror and you got dressed, okay? And y'all look good. But when you look in that mirror, what do you really see? And who are you looking at? Now, here's my question to you. Here's my question. And I want you to be serious. Not who do your friends see, not who do your teachers see, not who do your administrators see, but who are you really when they look in the mirror, okay? And what's inside you? Listen to me. What defines you, okay? What defines you? And do you have what it takes to overcome whatever comes your way? Now, you may not be able to do that on your own, but you can do that through friends. So even though I experienced failure on 3 different occasions, okay, failure won't kill you, but feeling like a failure could. Because if you feel like you don't have what it takes, and you feel like I'm not worthy, and you feel like, I'm missing out, I could have done this or that, that can hurt you long term. So my challenge to you is this. Just like I had simple goals, my goal was to go to Florida. Well, my first goal was to make the basketball team and to graduate from high school. Okay? Well, I made the team, but I just barely made it by the skin of my teeth. But it didn't matter, I made it. Played on a state champion. Didn't get into Florida. So then my life was changed because I went into education. Okay, and that directly affected you guys because of my personal experiences. I hired this guy and then brought him back to this county, and he's now your principal. You got a new painted school. You guys are going to have a 90% graduation rate here in a couple of days. All right? All right? That's because of your principal, your administrators, your wonderful teachers and staff that you have here. So, I had goals, and you need to have goals. And you know what's going to happen along the way? It's not always going to go the way you want it to go. So you can either sit back and go, make excuses, like too many people do nowadays. And this is where I want to just look in the eye. You can make excuses. Excuses are for losers, okay? You may have some hard times. You may need to talk to people. You can't do it on your own. But you have something inside of you that can overcome any of those obstacles. And you know what an obstacle is? You have a goal. You have an obstacle. The obstacle is what you see if you take your eyes off the goal. So don't let that happen to you. Keep your eye on that, and it's not always going to go your way. There's going to be ups and downs, and that's where you have to persevere. That's where you have to stand tough, and you got to work your way through it. So I was able to do those things, not just because of myself, but because of a strong faith system that I have, and because of others around me. So, all those experiences led me today to be here in front of the Jaguars in the graduating class of 2018, which is going to be approximately how many, Mr. Ocampo? About 5? What do you got? About 400. About 400. So I'm going to see you again. What's the date? May 22nd? Yeah. It's a Tuesday at 4:30. You have to be there early, and I'm going to be able to give you a diploma. So your next step is right in front of you. Okay? So I hope I said something here again. You got to set that goal. You got to overcome those obstacles, and don't let anybody tell you. Nobody can make you feel inferior. You let them. All right? Nobody can make you feel inferior without your own consent. Okay? So you hang in there, you be tough, and just as this school is progressing and making wonderful gains, you can do the same thing. All right, Jaguars? All right. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Mills.